Hi guys, so it's time for an update. So basically we just wanted to do an update on what's been going on and talk about our amazing tour that we did when we were at Walt Disney World.
Yep, so hopefully you will have seen the vlog from our Keys to the Kingdom before and after day. We didn't really record, well, we weren't allowed to record much on the day of the tour. So yeah, we wanted to go through what the tour was, what we got to see. We're not going to give everything away, but we haven't been able to find really many videos about the tour when we were researching it and stuff, so hopefully this will give you a bit of kind of insider information as to what the tour involves, how much it costs, what you get to do and stuff like that. But like Matt said, wanted to give you guys a quick update first because we haven't spoken to the camera like this in a fair old while. So I'm currently 34 weeks pregnant today.
It's gone so quick, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's caught up with us very quickly.
Yeah, so we'll put a link to our life update pregnancy announcement somewhere on the screen, so you can go back and take a look at that. 2 weeks left at work. 2 weeks until my sister's wedding, so that's going to be fun as well. But yeah, for now we'll go back to October and talk about our Keys to the Kingdom tour.
Right then, so we'll start talking about the Keys to the Kingdom tour. So this was an amazing thing that we wanted to do, mostly because of the utilidor section that we'll come to, because obviously that's the famous bit, that's what everybody wants to see, is, you know, the behind the scenes type stuff. We have done a tour in the past. Do you remember what that one's called?
The Marceline to Magic Kingdom tour, so that was a 3-hour tour.
It was amazing as well.
That was really good. It was obviously bit cheaper than this one, so I think the other one, obviously I don't know about current prices, but when we went in 2018, I think the Marceline to the Magic Kingdom tour cost about $60-70 for a 3-hour tour. The Keys to the Kingdom tour, which is a 5-hour tour, current price is at what we paid as well back in October, September time, so it's currently $99 per person.
And we both felt that it was well worth that, you know. Like, we're quite geeky when it comes to the Disney stuff. We like the behind the scenes stuff. We like to know how and why things work, and it does, I don't want to say spoil the magic, but it does obviously show you behind the scenes. It shows you physically how buildings and rides and things work.
So with all the tours you do at Magic Kingdom, you go and meet your tour guide at Town Hall. So you go in and register and you get little name badges. So we got our little name badges here, and they're all branded up on the tour that you do. So we've got ones from the tour that we did last time as well. So these are like nice little takeaways with you. It's quite fun. It's got Mickey and Minnie in the tour guide uniform that they wear, so that's quite a cute little nod to that. And then on this tour we picked our lunch first thing as well, so they have that ready.
So they give you quite a basic menu, but it pretty much covered everything, didn't it? I'd say vegetarian, not sure about vegan, but they definitely covered most things, didn't it?
We'll come on to what we picked a bit later on. And then you just hover around until your time gets called. So because of the duration of this tour, it's 5 hours. They only start the tour from like 8 till about 10:30 in the morning. We purposely picked, I think we started at 9 or 9:30.
Yes.
Because thinking about my pregnant self, I didn't want to have lunch too early, so I wanted to have lunch kind of 11:30, 12 o'clock-ish. And we knew that the lunch came pretty much in the middle of the tour.
That's not something you're worried about, I would get it really early, because if you get it early, like last time, the last tour we did it before the park even opened.
That was super cool.
And we were literally walking in front of people who were waiting for a rope drop. You know, we were literally first through on everything. It was nice. It was so cool to be in the park, not on your own, but when it's very, very quiet, you get some amazing pictures and stuff.
That was super cool.
Yeah.
So from our meeting point, they give you your headphone and kind of battery packs. So they make sure that obviously you can hear the tour guide, so that they're not having to shout amongst the crowds. They just have a little lapel microphone. That's really cool as well, that you're kind of walking through Magic Kingdom and you've got this secret voice going on in your ear. Yeah,
you're somewhat independent, aren't you? Obviously you're together as a group, but she's not trying to shout over a music or something that's going on, and that even works on the rides. They even talk to you whilst you're going around on the rides, which is pretty cool.
So the first chunk of the tour, we've got our notes, and I was typing these on the day.
Yes.
They were really strict in terms of no video, no photography, things like that.
The way she put it, it's like, don't even take your phone out of your pocket. She was like, put it on flight mode, leave it in your pocket. If I see you take it out of your pocket, then you will get told to leave.
Yeah.
So
I was doing notes on like bathroom breaks and on lunch and stuff like that. So we've tried to capture everything that we did. But the first big chunk of the tour was down Main Street.
Yep.
So they gave you loads of kind of facts and fun little tidbits and things like that.
Because we don't want to spoil too much, but obviously there will be a few little spoilers in here. You know, but I imagine every tour is different depending on what they can get on. And
each tour guide, what's available on the day and stuff like that. So one of the first things that they were talking about was the forced perspective, in terms of how they built Main Street and the size of the buildings and things like that. So even though some of the buildings have got what appears to be 3 floors because of the number of windows, some of those windows are just fake, or the actual height of that floor is like
only a few height.
Feet high. So they really draw your eye down, obviously, as most people will do anyway, really draw your eye down to the castle at the end. We went through a whole section on the purchase of the land and how Walt and his brother and family went about purchasing the land under various kind of disguised names and things like that.
Until some journalists caught them out.
So we got all that story as well. We found out that Cinderella's castle isn't actually, again, it's a lot of forced perspective and a lot of very clever kind of architectural techniques. It's not actually as tall as you think it is, partially because it has to abide by aircraft restrictions, so aircraft will pass over that area quite regularly.
Without having a light on the top, isn't it? That's what it is. If it's over a certain height, it has to have flashy lights, and they didn't want that, because obviously it would ruin the look of it.
Yeah, definitely. But things like Tower of Terror, which is in Hollywood Studios, you will have seen Matt ride on that in our latest vlog. So Tower of Terror and Everest are actually both taller than the castle, which when you see them, and I think because the castle is kind of by itself in isolation and it's such a focal point. Again, it has this forced perspective of kind of its magnitude and its grandeur.
It's all about putting the show on, isn't it? Everything was like, the whole park is a show. Even from the lead up to the show. As in walking through, you know, under the arches with the red carpet and the smell of popcorn. It is absolutely amazing, the level of detail that no one actually pays attention to
until you are told about it and know about it. It's really quite cool.
You just kind of walk straight past it, but it looks amazing.
So any of you who are going to Magic Kingdom anytime in the future, as you're walking through, obviously take all that magic in and enjoy that moment, but just take a look at like the colour of the concrete, and like Matt says, they've got a popcorn stand literally right as you walk in. They've got posters of some of the attractions, so that's meant to replicate like a cinema poster. It's just really cool how, again, like Matt says, it's all a show, and how the level of detail and level of thought that they've gone into it is pretty spectacular, really. So then we spent some time kind of at that I guess spoke wheel area in front of the castle, and we started talking about the transitions into the different lands. And one thing, again, you wouldn't notice unless it was kind of told to you, is that as you look down each spoke to the different lands, there'll always be something at the end of that pathway that is drawing your attention. Something that I am always fascinated about is the transitions between those different lands. So like the flooring changes and the lampposts will change, the railings, but the music is the one that gets me every time. I don't know how they do it.
When you notice it, it's amazing how brutal it is, but for some reason when you're not actively looking for it, it makes perfect sense. It's amazing how you just all of a sudden can't hear the music, but you can just hear the jungle, or you know, all of a sudden it's futuristic music and not, you know.
And how they make that transition, because each piece of music is quite distinctive and quite different. But next time you're in the park, definitely kind of notice that. The other thing that they mentioned is, obviously, if you're in that spoke centre circle looking at the castle and you've got your pulls towards each land, when you're then in each land looking back to that centre circle, you'll never be able to see Cinderella's castle.
No.
They've always masked it in some way, so it could be trees or buildings or anything like that. So it truly is kind of independent. Each land is independent with all those features as well. So that's really cool. So from that moment in front of Cinderella's castle, again, it was pretty quiet that morning. We then went into Adventureland, and we went down to Jungle Cruise. So it's one of our favourite kind of slower pace rides anyway. But as you do with all of the tours, you essentially jump the queue.
Yes, they take you in through the exit, so therefore they can take you right up to the front. And particularly with Jungle Cruise, they literally, like, we're having that boat. You know, and then they pull one of the boats in before anybody else gets to go on it. So as a group, you get your own unique boat, just you, a driver, and, you know, and the person talking, the tour guide.
So we rode the entire duration of Jungle Cruise. We obviously had our tour guide with us, along with the skipper of the boat. So again, it was pretty cool that while we were in front of that kind of boarding area, the skipper was doing his spiel as he would for any other group. And then kind of as soon as we turned the corner and basically nobody else on the port or boarding area could hear us, he
sat down,
broke character, sat down, handed over to the tour guide. They interacted, they had a good little interaction and some little jokes in there as well. But it was the tour's tour guide, not the skipper of the boat, who was speaking to us.
Because it all falls back onto this idea of front of house, the show, and then behind the scenes. And it's very much about that. And later on in the tour, obviously that's very obvious, you know, when you go behind the scenes. And they even reference they can't answer certain questions in case they're overheard. So you have to be very selective about what you can talk about, what you can and can't ask. And quite often she'll say, I'll tell you that later.
So on the Jungle Cruise, a couple of little things that we learnt. It was originally an educational ride, but cast members went rogue.
There was one particular, wasn't there, that was really funny.
So they started putting jokes and things into their script.
To try and lighten it up. And then Walt actually joined the ride for that one particular cast member, but because obviously everyone knew Walt at the time, they did it properly. And he was very disappointed, wasn't he?
So Walt actually then went back and rode Jungle Cruise in disguise. And then was able to...
Loved it.
Loved the jokes.
And it changed forever.
Anyone that has been on the ride, you know, each skipper has their own kind of way of delivery and things like that. So that's really cool. So yeah, like Matt says, the whole ride was changed forever from that point.
Until we got back to that end point. And then all of a sudden, obviously the driver took over. And it was exactly the same as we were on any other ride.
It was as if we'd been on the same ride.
He did his goodbye jokes and everything. You know, it's amazing how they fall back into that script, isn't it?
That was really cool. So from there we walked around Adventureland a little bit.
And obviously you're getting told stuff whilst you're walking
the
around.
whole time.
She doesn't stop talking, bless her, all the way around, does she, or whoever you get. They're constantly giving you information, pointing things out to you. You know, there's never just like, oh, we're just walking here.
No.
It's always, I'm going to tell you about this. You know.
And again, I think that's where each tour would be different. So obviously we're giving our notes and experience from our tour guide. I think even if you were to have her again, you wouldn't get the same tour. But from there, like I say, we walked through various bits of Adventureland, pointing out bits about the Tiki Room or Pirates of the Caribbean. And then we ended up going round the corner in front of Splash Mountain. And from there, that's where we were able to go backstage for the first time. So again, this was a huge no-no in terms of any phone, cameras, anything like that. We were able to kind of have a bathroom break before we went backstage because we weren't able to use any facilities back there. So yeah, we headed backstage.
So where we went this time was where they basically store all the floats for the parade, and not just the parade that's happening then, all the parades. So we were looking at stuff from what would be the Christmas parade, and was there some from the Halloween parade as well? It was amazing, the different types around. you're given like a box that you can walk into, so it's not really like free reign. You can't walk around the warehouse, obviously for safety concerns, because there is trucks and things driving
it's
around.
A working facility, like there were mechanics and
they didn't just stop just because we were there, so you had to be on best behaviour.
We were very much guests in their area. It wasn't a show for us. We had to adhere to walking between certain lines and, like you say, staying in boxes.
Within that, we were literally within touch. There is a huge element of trust there, because you can touch the rides, not the rides, sorry, the
floats.
The floats. You're right up against them. They show you how they work, and obviously you can't go in them, but they show them with the door open effectively, and how they work and how it all works, and what's expected of the drivers and all that.
Hearing
kind of
about the driver's experience is insane.
Phenomenal.
There's various
training and everything.
There's various levels of kind of driver training that they have to go through to be able to drive certain floats.
Yes, so every float is given a difficulty rating, from easy to drive to you actually can't see where you're going.
You're lying on your back using a guide off the ceiling kind of thing.
Or cameras or that kind of stuff.
So that was really cool that some of the floats in there, like you say, were being repaired or going under kind of upkeep and things like that.
They were doing like testing, weren't they? So they were like firing the rides up almost, and the music and the lights would kick in whilst they were going through their testing and stuff.
We also got to see the Maleficent float.
Yes, the famous one.
The one that caught on fire. So we got to hear how that was dealt with. And again, you've obviously got cast members who are on the float or in front or behind the float. You've got the driver who's manning it, and then you've also got cast members who are not in disguise as such, but cast members who are positioned throughout the float or the parade route, who were able to jump in and deal with any incidents like that. So we got to kind of hear how that was all dealt with, which was, again,
and why it probably will never happen again. And it's amazing the amount of safety stuff that goes into it. It's just truly phenomenal, far beyond what you expect, really. And definitely gives you a real appreciation of everyone involved in those parades, having to deal with weather conditions, and like you say, the drivers is sometimes driving blind round the parade route and things like that. It was pretty cool. And then we all got to go and sit essentially in a bus shelter, but we got to sit there for a little bit, which is actually a staging area. That's where the cast members are getting ready, because there were seats that were really high for the ones that are on stilts and things like that, so
that was cool. And then from there we were probably down there a good 40 minutes, probably upwards of an hour.
Didn't feel rushed at all. No. I didn't feel like oh come on, you got to get out of here.
No. You could tell the tour guide was clearly on a schedule.
She was just very good at it.
And obviously we were then backstage, so you got to ask any question you want, and she answered as much as she had the knowledge to answer, and not just about the elements of the tour we were on. We were able to ask about pretty much anything.
It was very much right. Now we're backstage. What do you want to know? You can ask me anything. Obviously, she won't say everything, will she? No. But most things. There was no questions that were out of bounds. No. Not that anyone asked any inappropriate questions or anything.
Not at all.
But
so then from there we went back up the ramp beside Splash Mountain. One of the cool things she actually pointed out, we got to go right beside like the mechanics of Splash Mountain as well.
I was just trying to think, was that later on or was that
No, that was then. So all the water, we were told how it's all kept clean and things like that. The sheer quantity of water was phenomenal.
The tanks and the pumps and everything that was churning the water over, just so it's has the power that it does. It's really, again, quite amazing, wasn't it?
One of the things she pointed out was one of the rocks.
The go away green.
That had been positioned, because there's one particular point, and unless you knew exactly where it was, you wouldn't know it existed.
We're literally talking about, I don't know, maybe a 2 metre by 2 metre square. Stood on one of the curbs in one of the parks,
And if you just happened to glance a certain direction at a certain angle, you would have been able to see one of the
like warehouse,
maintenance house buildings.
Okay.
So they spent thousands of dollars putting a Splash Mountain rock.
Just so it
painting it, making it fit in, just so again that magic of the show wasn't spoilt at all. So then from there we went to Pecos Bill's for lunch. So as Matt said at the start, we were given kind of a standard menu to pick from.
Just like American food type.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd not eaten there before.
No, we hadn't eaten there at all.
Yeah. And they closed off part of the restaurant for us. Like again, you weren't just expected to go sit in.
No.
There was like a particular roped off, us only kind of area.
Yeah, and they'd put name tags out, and our food was sat there waiting. It wasn't cold at all, so they'd clearly only just served it.
Yeah, and drinks, and then they had like condiments area, didn't they?
Yeah, so
with
all the toppings and stuff.
And,
so that's where we also were given our Keys to the Kingdom, actual key to the kingdom. So I'm sure Matt will do a little close-up of this. So yeah, you've got your little card with your name on. There's obviously various codes on the back as to what it is that you've ordered. So I think
it's not a normal pin badge.
No.
And it's the only way you can get this pin badge or this badge is by doing the tour. So it's a really cool collector's piece, I think. Yeah.
This isn't going to go in our swapping.
Yeah.
On our lanyards as such. So yeah, these are all positioned on the table with your food and drink. I think we had about 25 minutes.
Yeah,
to
again, we
eat.
weren't rushed and time to go for the bathroom and bring your drink with you type thing.
It was
so
good
fine.
food.
Yeah,
I had
standard American
chicken
food.
tacos, if I remember
rightly.
rightly.
And I had a bacon cheeseburger, I think. Yeah, it was fine.
So yeah, and then from there, like Matt says, we were all roped off in a certain area. The next group was on their way filtering in as we were filtering out. So it's clearly time to perfection. And then we just headed outside and then started walking down to Liberty Square.
Yeah.
So then we went to Liberty Square.
Yep.
And again, she's talking to you the whole way through, lots of facts and things to make note of. It's quite funny as you're walking around. People look at you as if to go, oh, who's this special group?
Yeah.
As if we're
especially when you bust in front of them on the ride, like they've been queuing for an hour and you just kind of like, excuse me, walk past them and go straight to the front.
So yeah, it's quite cool going around with like your little speaker in your ear and people looking,
your name
going,
badges on and
who's this group of celebrities going around? So yeah, that's pretty cool. And you actually see people like try and tag on to the end of the group.
Yes.
There was one point when we were sat down by the dock. And again, she was pointing some things out about the haunted mansion, and a couple who were waiting for the boat moved closer, just so that they could hear some of the stuff that we were being told. So yeah, after we were sat down by the dock, we went and then stood in Liberty Square for a bit. Again, loads of information, loads of facts.
Tons,
Not everything we could capture or remember. A couple of things, that the tree in Liberty Square, it's actually dead. And it's actually just kept in a flower pot. So she gave the whole backstory as to how that tree was chosen. It was actually merged with another tree to keep it alive. She was also talking about the paving in Liberty Square, and did you know, fact alert, that there's no bathrooms in the Liberty Square area because of that period of time of where that land is based. You wouldn't have had indoor bathrooms anyway. People would have had outhouses or going to the bathroom wherever else they could. So they obviously don't want to encourage that in Magic Kingdom, but to keep in with the whole theming, there's no bathrooms available in that area. And then from there we headed over to Haunted Mansion. Which was really cool. Yes,
again, getting that kind of behind the scenes kind of information. We actually did Haunted Mansion last time on our last tour, and last time we got to go down underneath Haunted Mansion and see how it works, so kind of like the maintenance room.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that was really cool, that was pretty awesome. This time we didn't, did we?
We got to go round the back.
Yes.
And again, the tour guide was telling us that every ride in Magic Kingdom has a chicken out route out. So if somebody gets to the front of the line or partway through the queuing system and decide, nah, this isn't for me, there's always some form of chicken out.
Like an exit.
So we got to go through the chicken out,
which was themed. That's,
and she said the
you
number
think
of
people. Just be a corridor, didn't you? But it's themed.
The number of people that actually use that is probably minute.
Yeah, especially for Haunted Mansion. Yeah.
But the fact that it was themed,
the
lighting was spot on. They'd put pictures on the walls and
cobwebs and
so just that again level of detail that maybe a handful of people.
Yeah, and again, we didn't waste any time queuing up for this. We went
No.
in through the exit, straight the way through, and then as a group, she basically pushed us all into the, into the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, so as we said, we did the Haunted Mansion on our Marceline to the Kingdom tour.
Yep.
During that one, we were spoken to throughout. Our tour guide was talking to us the whole way
Yes.
round on the ride. On this one, she kind of just left us to it. I think it was more of a chance for her to
have some water,
have a break as well.
Yeah.
But because we'd done the other tour,
we knew
some things to watch out for and take a look at. So from Haunted Mansion, we knew we were getting closer to the bit that we'd been
Well,
waiting.
they were running out of time, weren't they?
Yeah,
So...
we were kind of all looking at our clocks going, I hope we're going to have long enough down there.
Mm-hmm.
So we went past these, went through these doors and then down a staircase, and you were just in a set of corridors.
Yeah, so obviously she showed us around. It wasn't like just go off and walk and find yourself, because there's very specific areas, and there's directions, and there's different coloured lines, and there's maps everywhere, and you can find maps online. There's plenty of information online about where you are in relation to the park and where each entrance and exit is. But obviously these people were working down there, and you have to be respectful towards them. But then I was amazed by how polite they were. They were still waving at us and smiling, and they were still being the Disney cast members, weren't they? You kind of expected them to be, people down, trying to have a break here. Yeah. But everyone was still really lovely down there, weren't they?
And there's non-cast members working down there as well. So we went past the payroll team and people doing interviews and things like that. So there's an entire world going on down there that is essentially keeping the show running up above. Mainly because we can't remember, but because we definitely weren't allowed to do any notes or anything during this bit. But we walked a fair way round.
We did, yeah. It was quite a walk, wasn't it? They have little electric vehicles, don't they, to go around in there. I particularly remember seeing the lift that goes up to the castle. So she was showing, if you're one of the incredibly lucky people that get to stop in the hotel room in the castle, that's where you would enter from. And it's also where Tinkerbell enters from for the end of the show. Where else did we see? There was obviously Mickey's Not So Scary was going on when we were there. So we saw tons of bins of candy going around, didn't we?
Yeah. And all the props and things like that, all the merchandise. There's a room down, I don't think we actually got to see it, but I've read about it since. There's a room they call the Glow Room, which is where all the light up ears and swords and things like that that are merchandise for people to sell. They just bung them all in this room and call it the Glow Room, so that would be quite a fun room to go and see.
So they took us around, and I think eventually we came around to this bit where there was loads of memorabilia, wasn't there? I remember there was loads of cabinets on the wall, and she was just pointing out stuff to us.
And that's purposeful for the tour. They know they're bringing people down there, so they have got certain points throughout these. Yeah,
because I imagine this happens every day, if not every week, so people are doing this tour all the time.
So there was some really cool kind of memorabilia there, kind of historical artefacts and stuff like that. Like Matt said, there was cast members walking up and down, going about their business. We got to see a friend of Snow White, so that was quite cool. I was desperate to look out and try and find another cast member or another friend of a character. Yeah,
it's luck of the draw depending on what time you go down and who you bump into, I think. So everybody does truly get a unique experience, I think, with this.
Yeah. So it was really cool. We spent over an hour down there, definitely. And again, that was an opportunity for us to ask any questions that we weren't able to ask on show. So I was asking about what do cast members do about their lunch? Is there catering provided? Is that part of the deal of working there? So we got to hear about kind of the various different catering options that people have. Everyone's got lockers, so you can bring your own snacks and stuff like that. They have certain dressing rooms for the princesses and make sure that they have assistance and help in terms of their makeup and hair and things like that. We also were hearing about how they go about casting the friends of characters. So sometimes it might not necessarily be just about your facial appearance looking like a character.
Quite brutal, isn't it, when you think about it? Especially when people put huge amounts of effort into becoming one particular role, there's no guarantee.
It could literally come down to you're 2 inches taller than the current friend of Jasmine, for instance.
Yeah, or the dress doesn't fit you because you're too thin or too fat. You know, like they will not make unique dresses for people.
No.
It's you've literally got to be within this particular kind of range,
Yeah.
have the right look at the right time.
Yeah.
You know,
looking like the people who already play that role
yes.
is more important to them than you looking like the character that you see on the screen.
Yeah, and having the right experience as well, because no one goes straight into that role.
No.
You know, they all do like full costume for a while before they'll do something like that. So.
And some of the cast members that do perform as friends of characters,
Yep.
they're not necessarily solely dedicated to that one role. You might have somebody who works as a princess one day who then works as Daisy Duck.
And they have to be incredibly flexible about it. They might not find
It could
out
change.
until the day, or even halfway through the day.
Yeah.
You know, they'll be doing several roles throughout the same day. It's pretty hard job. You know, they earn their money. Them guys, they really do.
Kudos to anyone that does that. And I know that there's a ton of videos about like people who do that as their job. So definitely go and check some of those out.
Yeah.
So yeah, the utilidors, we haven't got any notes or anything to really refer back to, but all we can say is that it was exceptionally cool.
Yeah, it was really special. Yeah.
We were kind of walking around looking at each other going,
"This is awesome.
This is amazing." So then from there we walked essentially down the entire duration of Main Street.
Yep.
We kind of went on a bit of a detour to get there. But also what they were saying is in terms of that duration, if you were a cast member and you were at the and you were at Peter Pan and you needed to get to Town Hall, going on stage past the castle, round the spoke, down Main Street with all the crowds, it would take you 20-25 minutes.
Yep.
Go down Utilidor, straight out the end, you could be there in 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
So that was so cool.
Yeah, it's so well designed and developed, isn't it? Obviously, it's just incredible. Again, the level of detail that goes into something that you just do not appreciate at all. And obviously, we only have a very small appreciation of it compared to some people.
Yeah.
But I think we definitely recommend it, wouldn't we?
Yeah. So then from there, we had gone down Main Street, came back up, and then went back on stage right by Town Hall.
Yep. Back to where we started, basically.
Yeah. And she kind of wrapped the day up.
Yeah, we had like 5-10 minutes, any final questions kind of thing. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, handed back our listening devices and battery packs, and then went on our way.
Yeah, went off around the park. So I think our top tips for it would be definitely really good footwear. It's hard. You doing it as a pregnant person, I was so impressed. Every opportunity you get to sit down, take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just gonna grab something. Cannot recommend this enough.
It was hot as well that day, wasn't it?
Saved my bacon.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, we will have a link down in the description.
Yeah, I know this is like the YouTube fan.
Yeah.
But if you're going, regardless of whether you're pregnant or not, for young kids, just anyone.
Yeah.
Get yourself something like this.
Yeah.
Because that will really save the day.
Yeah, it was well worth it. Water as well. She shows you where every fountain is and everything. She was really good about that, making sure we
got
had plenty
bottles
to drink.
of water when you join the tour as well at the start.
Yeah, so make sure you fill that up as you're going around. Or if you don't like the Disney water, obviously bring your own water or your own drinks. They're absolutely fine with you having your own drinks.
My top tip would be go with questions.
Yeah.
If there's stuff you want to know, there's no harm in asking.
Yeah.
The likelihood is that the tour guide will know the answer.
Yes.
If they don't, they'll
probably
also okay as
awesome.
well. Yeah. But they are so knowledgeable and so incredible and friendly. I would go with as many questions as you can possibly think of, and there'll be things that you think about on the way around. Things like the catering for the cast members. I was kind of thinking, I wonder how that's. And again, she had the answer. She told us all about that.
Yep. Again, it's not. I wouldn't do it on my first time to Magic Kingdom. Obviously, we've been a few times now, and we've spent quite a lot of time in that park. So, as an additional thing, because it is quite a hefty additional cost on top of your park ticket. You've got to have a ticket to be able to get in.
Yes.
To be able to do this tour in the first place. It is expensive, but for us it was definitely worth it. We learned so much, and it gave us such an incredible appreciation for what we were looking at and the effort that went into it, that I think I definitely recommend it.
I was a bit sceptical
we have recommended it
beforehand because of the cost involved, and as you guys know, we were trying to do Disney on a budget as cheap as possible, but it was probably the best $100 we spent on our trip each. It was an amazing experience, and like you say, you come away with
some cool mementos and
cool things like this that not many people in the world probably even know what this is, let alone have one.
And that's the interesting thing about this tour. They don't advertise it. You've got to kind of know about it. You know, we only know about it because another YouTuber told us about one of the tours, that then we started looking into the other tours, because there's actually a third one, which is even more, which is hundreds of dollars, and I think you actually get to go around several parks with that one.
All 4 parks. It's a 7-hour tour.
Yeah, so you don't know about these things. We'll try and find some links. If we can find some links to them, we'll put the links down below.
Yeah, we'll definitely link to the tour.
Yeah, and if you've done the tour, I'd love to know what you thought about it. You know, especially if you had a different experience to what we did. Please do comment down below and let us know what you thought and if you do it.
Yeah. So we've given you a quick update on our current life. We'll try and keep you more updated over the next few weeks and months, and
we've got lots of videos planned, haven't we? So we've got lots of content to make, so we're just finding the time to do it.
And if there's anything you guys want to know, I'm happy to do a video all about kind of how I dealt with Disney while pregnant. But we'll also do some kind of home style videos as well. We'll do a nursery tour and then update you on little baby bump, as we're referring to her.
And any budget things, we absolutely love doing Disney on a budget. That's that's what we enjoy doing, is getting the most out of what we can afford, basically. So if you need any tips, we will be doing a video on the hotel we stopped at, even though we didn't get any footage, unfortunately, of the hotel.
There's loads of pictures and stuff out there.
But it's something we definitely want to mention about it, because it's such a huge potential saving that you can make there just by where you stay and things like that. So look forward to that.
So thanks guys for watching. Hopefully this isn't too long. Matt's editing skills will have cut this right
Give
down.
us a like just on my editing skills.
Please do. But if you've got any questions, definitely comment down below. Like you say, if you've done the tour, let us know what your experience was and what your favourite part was. Or if you haven't been on the tour, what's the one thing that maybe you would want to go and see if you were to go on it. But thanks so much guys, really appreciate you watching, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
See you.